Hi, hi everyone. It's another wonderful time for us to have our SME Roundtable. And this week we are excited to have you join us as we will be looking at a very interesting topic that we believe is very essential for us all, especially all of us that are running one business or the other. Just before we go into the full details of what today's session is all about and the wonderful guests that will be doing justice to explain this topic to us, to give us full, wonderful insight, let me just quickly introduce Pest Consulting to us once again for the purpose of those that are just joining for the very first time. Our Pest Consulting is a management consulting firm that offers services that help organizations to achieve their growth and expansion targets. We are committed to strengthen the internal processes and structures of organizations for them to succeed, not just only now, but also in the future, by helping them to build systems that make them to be profitable, sustainable, and scalable. And regarding SME Roundtable is a weekly show where we bring experts and business owners to have conversation with us so that we can contribute to the body of knowledge in the community and in the space of the small business owners. Also, we are not running this show alone. We have partners that are working with us to make this show a reality on a weekly basis. We have Fat Corner and Tam TV, and we're also still open to more partnership. And for you to watch what we are doing and being in tune with what we are doing on a weekly basis, so that you don't have to miss anyone. Just go to our social media platform on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Follow us, like us, and then you will get the prompts for our subsequent programs. So today we are talking about something very, very essential for us as a business owner, especially the area of credit. We are talking about understanding credit for business growth. But before we go into that, I would like to introduce our guest for you on the show to you today. It's no other person than Mr. Samuel Omope. I will quickly give you a brief information about who he is. He's an enterprising control specialist in financial planning, analysis, credit, and commercial controlling functions with over 6 years of proven success in recommending appropriate financial plans based on accurate data collection, financial modeling, monitoring, and business strategizing. His expertise includes financial planning, controlling, reporting, variance analysis, forecasting, credit risk, and customer relationship management. He has developed and maintains high standard for quality and issues resolution through effective financial planning and top-notch business communication skills to deliver the business ambition, build strong connections, and foster long-term relationships. He obtained his first degree in accounting with a first-class honors from Crawford University, master's degree in accounting from University of Lagos. He's also a chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. He has also attended several leadership workshops, including Alt International Business School at the Netherlands. He enjoys being part of a dynamic team, networking, and playing chess. It is a great joy and privilege to introduce to you all Mr. Samuel Omope. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so without much ado, we'll be talking about um, understanding credit for business growth, and I will leave you to Mr. Omope, who will explain this to you. So I'm leaving you to with the expert. All right. So I'll be here together. Please, your question, make sure your paper, your pen is very close to you so that you're jotting things and then you're asking questions where you can. And for those of you that will be watching after this live show, drop your question on the comment section. We're going to collect them or send it to him, and at a later date, we'll send it across to you. All right. Thank you. Mr. Omopo, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Buboye. I really appreciate this very particular audience. And I'm very, very grateful to also be here and your midst to share a bit of little experience from what I understand clearly by credit risk management to foster business growth and development, basically. So I'll be breaking my proposition right into 5 different parts. So we're looking at some elements of credit risk management. So and in these 5 parts, of course, I'll be looking at the economic situation of Nigeria Of course, you know these are volatile times. We describe Nigeria as a VUCA environment. You know, where there is volatility, there is uncertainty. Of course, where there is also complexity and ambiguity. So it's called VUCA, right? So we'll also be looking at the types of business risks, and of course, why credit risk management. Why? When you say credit risk management, why? You know, and then of course, you also want to gauge the efficiency of our businesses. You know, both small and medium enterprises. And then we'll also be looking at how can we establish a very sound governance framework, you know, to deliver business growth in terms of credit management. I really appreciate being here. Without wasting further time, let's get right to the business of the day. So let's look at the economic situation of Nigeria. You know, I may be faster than the slides that is being shown, but the part one talks about the economic situation of Nigeria. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at what we talk about when we say unemployment. Of course, you know, Nigeria is characterized basically by unemployment. You know, and that's the very first thing that you can see on the show. You can see the particular map of Nigeria, and you can see at the base unemployment, right? You can see a group of people who are just there queuing up to look for jobs, to make ends meet, you know, and the likes. So when you look at the economic situation of Nigeria, I also want to focus basically the on the security challenges. So you look at the northeast, you know, characterized by Boko Haram. You look at the southeast, you know, it's characterized by secessionists. You know, you look at the southwest, the agitation for Yoruba nation. You know, these are some of the fundamental issues, you know, that is plaguing our country as a whole. So when I say the economic situation in Nigeria, you know, I'm basically talking about the fact that businesses are no longer operated as usual. So meaning that things are now more difficult, things are now, more constrained, you know, as it were. We now have more limited resources, you know, to also deliver value to people and also, of course, become profitable as a country. So when we look at these elements, you know, we're able to fully digest and understand the rationale behind why we do the things we do. So if you also look at the fact that we have unemployment, it has now metamorphosed into little issues like inflation, right? So, of course, we all know what inflation is called, the general increase in the price of goods and services that we offer. So, the rising prices of everything in the market, from tomatoes to shoes, you know, they are pressurizing our economic households. They are pressurizing the microeconomies. You know, they're pressurizing our small businesses, our medium businesses, you know, and even the World Bank estimates that because of the price shocks, almost about 7 million additional Nigerians will be thrown into poverty, you know. And if you look at all of these elements, it goes against what we call in terms of economic growth. Let's look at currency devaluation. If you look at the graphs to your left, you know, it talks about the gap between the current exchange rates as officially declared by the Central Bank of Nigeria and what you can find obtainable in the parallel markets. You know, in current exchange rate now, you're talking about to buy $1, it costs you about 411 naira, 410 naira, 412 naira, averages around these values to buy $1 officially. However, when you go into reality, you go into the market, you realize that to buy this same $1, it will cost you as high as 520 naira, as high as 500 naira, as high as 495. You know, and then when you bring all of these elements to bear, you can now realize that because of the fact that we had COVID-19 ravaging our economy throughout last year, we did a lot of devaluations, you know, to our currency. And if you also look at our foreign reserves, right? What COVID 19 has done is it has allowed for foreign reserves to be depleted, you know, generally speaking. So the fact that we are seeing these movements, these swings, you know, tells us a lot about what we need to do for our businesses. And as a result of that, we now talk about recession and slow growth. In the year 2016, we had an economic recession, right? And of course, also last year, because of COVID 19, we also slipped into recession again. So you can imagine slipping into recession twice in 5 years is really massive. So what now then happens is you may probably run into a situation of stagflation. And stagflation in reality just talks about, when you look at inflationary measures and you look at unemployment measures, the fact that your country cannot even produce enough to meet the unemployment needs, of its citizenry. Now, that is what we talk about in the first part of this section when we look at the economic situation in Nigeria. How does this now relate to our businesses as a whole? It's very important that we have very background knowledge about, some of the business risks that we encounter in our operation, in our daily activities, in all our little businesses, in our medium enterprises, and so on and so forth. So we have different types of business risks. And it is important for us to already know and identify these business risks. We have business risks like strategic risk, we have the compliance risk, we have the operational risk, we have the financial risk that deals with cash, and we also have the reputational risk. Now, the essence of me breaking down my submission into these various parts to say I don't just want to delve into credit management and how we can advanced credit management to grow our businesses. But it's also very important, that we have some basics about all the fundamental risks that can impact our business as a whole. Now, when you talk about strategic risk, that's the very first risk, on display. Now, strategic risk talks about the fact that a successful business needs a well laid out business plan. We need to put that at the back of our minds. A successful business needs a well laid out business plan. However, strategic risk will only come in because of the fact that things can change very quickly. Your super business plan can become outdated. So, what we now then say is that the recipe for yesterday's success can become the ingredients for tomorrow's failures. Now, if you don't, as a business, identify the strategic risk present in your current business structure, present in your current business model, you run that very crucial risk of failing as a business. Even though, yeah, what we did yesterday was successful, but what are you going to do tomorrow? What are you doing today? Will it still be successful? I give you a classical example of Kodak. Of course, many of us know Kodak. The photography business, it had such a dominant position in the film photography market that when one of its own engineers invented a digital camera in 1975, Kodak saw the innovation as a threat to its core business. You know, Instead of Kodak to identify this opportunity and take advantage of it, he saw it as a threat and failed to develop it. Now, what happened? This engineer moved on with life, and then, of course, digital camera is now something that we see all across our mobile phones. You see it, spread across, different landscape. So, failure to adapt to a strategic risk will always lead to bankruptcy. It's one of the very key risks that we need to always be careful of, whenever we talk about, business risk as a whole. Then moving forward, I want to talk about compliance risk. Compliance risk involves all the laws and the regulations that affect our businesses. I mean, you look at these are regulations, these are policies, these are laws that the government will always bring to play, that can impact our business. So whatever business we are going into, you already know, oh, these are the laws that I need to always check. And we need to always continually review that these laws are not changing. And if there are going to be changes, how does the change in a law affect my business as a whole? So these are some of the things that you also need to look at, in terms of compliance risk. Of course, we all remember clearly, in 2020, the ban on motorcycle and tricycle operators, to stop operations on the major roads. Of course, is a transport sector reform law that was already existing as of 2018, but was not enforced. It was enforced in February 2020, and that affected the operations of operators like GoCada, ORide, and the likes. So failure to also recognize a compliance risk can lead to drop in revenues for your business. Now, if we talk about the third business risk, that's very important, and this one is actually more internal. Unlike the other risks that could be external related, like your strategic risk, competition, and so on and so forth. The operational risk is the third type of business risk that we encounter on a daily basis. Now, it comes from inside the business. It comes from your own business directly. So you as a person, you set up your business model. What are the processes that guide your business operations? You may have network downtime, you may have machine downtime, your internal controls may fail. Oh, I can give you a case in point. Imagine this. You're a business owner, you employ your relative and put him in charge of finance with little or no control. There's no control framework around. So one day, this your relative issues a check of 1 million naira instead of 100,000 naira. Tell me, will your business still survive? Now, when you look at these things relative to one another, of course, there are some businesses that will feel the direct impact of losing an extra 900,000. It may be due to fraud, it may be due to errors, it may be due to just pure negligence, and the likes. So these are some of the issues, that we also encounter in businesses. Then we now talk about reputational risk, which is the fourth kind of business risk that we experience, in our daily operations. All businesses have one thing in common, just like everybody has one thing in common: your reputation. Clearly, once my reputation is damaged, it may be very difficult to regain control. Because what happens is a lot goes into media these days. So your reputation is very key in your business operations. So now, a slight issue on your reputation, you might most likely feel an immediate impact on your revenues, on your sales. You know, imagine a situation as such as this. You're a business owner, right? Your customer experiences a security incident in which a cyber attacker published his or her private information, sort of the card details, the names, the email addresses, or even where they live, and then you face lawsuits, you face regulatory inquiries. The government is after you. The everyone is after you. Just like you can remember different examples. Now the question is, your revenue will decline, and if your revenue declines, will your business still survive? So these are the issues. You know, Look at this other explanation. You are in a business of producing and selling mobile phones, and your mobile phones are known for cheap quality because every time someone picks up your phone, the battery goes off, the phone hangs, or it breaks. Now, the brand of that your gadget faces a negative impact. Now, even though you release a new model of this your brand of that brand of phone, what happens is your business may not necessarily survive because the brand is widely viewed as cheap. So these are things that affect your reputational risk. And the fifth is the financial risk, which is where our main focus for today resides. The financial risk. Now, the risk of possible sudden loss in monetary terms, you know, is what we refer to as financial risk. The risk that if I put 20 naira into my business today, I may not see it again. If I put 100,000 naira into my business today, I may not see it again. If I put 2 million in my business today, I may not see it again. That is what we call financial risk. The risk that money flows in and out of your business, and this can come as a result of your process failures, of course, result of internal control system failure, because we already said it before. You put your relative in charge instead of issuing 100,000 naira, your relative issues 1 million naira because he or she is your relative. You do not know and you do not ask. And because even you don't have proper record keeping mechanism in place, you really cannot tell that such is happening in your business. The only thing you know is that you are doing so much, such as walking as an elephant and eating as an ant. So imagine this situation. I'm a business owner and I grant access or I grant or advance credit to some customers of mine in May 2021. And then I give a payment term of 2 months, 60 days. If for whatever reason some of my customers are unable to pay, will my business still survive? Now, these are the core issues while we are here today. Now, let's move further to the third part of this section, which talks about why credit risk management. Because I'm stemming from the fact of financial risk. So, why credit risk management? Why? When we talk about credit risk management, why? Why? Many businesses today focus a lot on sales, you focus a lot on revenue, and you tend to neglect credit management. But it's very, very important for us to know that we are vulnerable to late payment, we are vulnerable to even no payment at all from customers. And bad debt as it is the leading cause of bankruptcy every year. It's a cause of several thousands of bankruptcies every year. Now, what this means is that a sale on credit is equal to granting a loan to your customer. If I sell my product to you on credit, I've given you a loan because the money you should have given back to me for the product you have taken, you can use that money to do something else for a period of time. So, when starting a new business from scratch, of course, there are several factors that we consider. You want to hire employees, you want to sell product and service, you want to save money, you want to introduce cost savings initiatives, you want to market your product and so on and so forth, such that our business credit can easily take the back seat on the priority list. However, maintaining your business credit is very important if you are going to build a successful business because it helps your reputation, it protects your financial stability, and it helps to create long-term relationships with your customers and even those that supply you, raw materials for production purposes. Now, and it also helps you to avoid some extra costs. Now, this section, I've also tried to draw how can I gauge the efficiency of my business? How can I gauge the efficiency of my business? Now, the efficiency of my business cannot be toyed with. It's not something that I play with. There are different ratios to analyze the efficiency of my business, to analyze my liquidity position, to analyze my profitability position. Oh, when I employ these ratios, what will the ratios be telling me? No, so my ability to effectively employ my resources, such as my assets, my capital, of course, money to produce profit, you know, and these ratios basically serve for comparison purpose. Oh, I'm comparing myself with my competitor. Oh, I'm also comparing myself with the industry. I'm comparing myself with myself. I'm looking at my business position this year versus what did I do last year. I'm looking at my business position this year versus what did I plan to do this year. So we have a lot of efficiency ratios, right? Inventory turnover ratio. You have your account receivables turnover ratio, which is better known as days sales outstanding or DSO for short. You have your accounts payable ratio. You have your asset turnover ratios. These ratios are very, very important, but I only want to pick one ratio, for the purpose of our conversation, which is the days sales outstanding. Now, what DSO does for you, it measures the average number of days it takes your business to collect money from a customer after selling on credit to that customer. How many days will it take me to collect my money from customer A when I make sales on credit to customer A? Now, a high DSO means that I'll be experiencing a lot of delays in getting payments. And of course, that will always cause a cash flow problem for my business, especially if my business is small or medium in nature, right? Because I don't have the shock absorber to really move on. Now, if I don't get money back into the business, then it means that I cannot run my operations. What if there are expenses that are due for payment? Oh, I made a sale on credit. I've not collected money from that sale, and my clients or my staff rather, are waiting to collect their wages, their salaries. However, I don't have that cash to pay them. What do you think would happen? Most likely that staff will become disgruntled and may want to leave your business. Nobody to work for you. Of course, you can already see the business going down the drain. And how do you measure your DSO? Very simple. How much of sales have I made on credit divided by what is my current receivables position or what is my current debtors position, as the case may be. This divided by that will give me what I'm expecting. Then I multiply by the period. So if I want to measure my DSO for the month, of course, I know, oh, in this month there are 31 days, right, of sale. I want to say how much sales did I make on credit? What's the value? Divided by what is my total debtors, right, for also that period. And then I multiply by 30 days. It already tells me clearly that, oh, you have 21 days, you have 20 days. I know from the top of my mind that, oh, my DSO is 20, meaning that it will take me 20 days on average to collect my money back from every sale that I make. Now, if you look at the entirety of this, you now need to start asking yourself questions. How can I move my business forward? How can I use credit to grow my business? Of course, there are different ways that you can use credit to grow your business, and that is the crux of today's lecture, as it is. If you begin to advance credit to customers, what it means is that you are looking to expand your business. You know, at a point where you start to advance on credit is because you have gotten to a certain stage in your business life cycle. Of course, there's what we call the business life cycle stages, right? But that's a topic for another day. But when you get to a certain level, most likely the growth stage of your business life cycle, you now begin to advance credit to customers because you really want to expand your your territorial base. You understand? You want to optimize a territory. Oh, I've been selling to Lagos before now. I want to optimize my territory in Lagos. Maybe I've been only selling to two parts of Lagos, say VI, say Lekki, right? But I want to optimize Lagos as a whole. I want to sell to other parts of Lagos. I want to sell to the mainland, then I need to start advancing credits, to arrive at this sale. Now, when I do that, or before I even start to advance credit to customers, I need to establish a very sound governance framework. It's very, very important for your business. You cannot overemphasize it enough. Now, a lot of businesses have gone under because they failed to really live by this one singular principle of establishing a sound governance framework. Now, you know all the elements of your cash flow. These are the things. If I'm paying my staff, of course, it means cash is going out. If I'm paying my taxes, it means cash is going out. If I'm paying dividends, it means cash is going out. If I'm paying interest to banks, it means cash is what? Going out. If I'm buying raw materials or if I'm buying inventory, if I'm buying stock for resale, it means cash is what's going out. Now, it is only when I sell that cash will come in, right? Or if friends, families, or shareholders, or stakeholders, other stakeholders inject funds into my business that I say, oh, cash is coming in, right? So growing your business requires more than just having the business idea. So you need, when building your business, is common practice for invoices to be raised and payment terms set. No matter how small your business is, before you start advancing credit to customers, you must have some established principles, upon which your business credit will be predicated. Now, you must have things like what we call the payment term. You must be able to define a clear payment term for your business. It's very important. Oh, because I want to advance credit to XYZ as a distributor of my product in the north or in the southern part of Nigeria, I need to advance credit because there's something we call value chain, right? I advance credit to this customer because this customer also needs to advance credit to his own customer. So I want to move my product through a value chain. I'm the main person. I'm passing my products, across, and then, oh, help me distribute this product. You go and tell customer A, let me distribute my product. The person starts to distribute your product, but the person also knows that in order for him to achieve business success, he needs to do a lot of volume. He needs to do a lot of sales, for him to even earn maybe things around incentive. Because your business may be such that you've devised a means to say, if you can deliver 100,000 for me in a week, or if you can deliver 5 million for me in a month, right? You will be entitled to this much discount. Right now, once you do that, what are you doing effectively? You are trying to expand your business. Now, in order for you to really give out so much as such, it means that your distributor must also have the wherewithal to accommodate what business products they are selling across to other customers. Now, in doing that, you need to have some established principles, and that's what I call in the next section the risk management cycle. And this is a very common topic. When you talk about the risk management cycle, you look at what are the elements of risk. How do I identify my risk, especially my credit risk? How do I identify what if my major supplier goes bankrupt? What if my customer goes bankrupt? For the purpose of my business, what if my customer goes bankrupt? Oh, I give my goods to this person to sell for me on credit, right? Now, this person loses a family member, or while the truck is in transit, right? It was hijacked by robbers, and for that reason, the person has lost the product I advanced to him or her on credit. Now, what do you think the person will come back to do? The person will only come back to you and beg you, right? The person doesn't have any money to pay you back. So what then happens to you? You must be able to identify what are these risks. You must be able to assess, evaluate the risk, look at it. What will be the impact on my business? And that's why we call it the risk management cycle in the next slide. You must be able to mitigate, control this risk. And there are different ways to control the risk. You can either avoid the risk, you can reduce the risk, you can transfer the risk. In transferring the risk, what are you doing basically? You are insuring yourself. So you buy an insurance policy for your goods, you buy an insurance policy for your services to say, if in the event that I'm unable, or this customer is unable to make this sale, right? Or in the event that I lose this much value in terms of my product, I can get compensated through insurance to restore me back to my previous position as if nothing had happened. Or you can also accept the risk. There are situations where you need to also learn how to accept the risk after weighing your options. Then you now begin to monitor your risk. It's very, very important to monitor your risk, because when you monitor your risk, you are keeping your risk under check at every point in time. You are checking, are the control measures put in place adequate enough to take care of all my risks? Now, if I'm able to really identify all of these elements, then of course I can now then begin to move on. So, still talking about establishing the sound governance framework, right? You want to look at a simple flow. You know, I've advanced credit to you as a customer. Now, once I advance credit to you as a customer, what is the first thing that is on my mind? How to collect my money back from you? How can I collect my cash back from you? So I plan and I carry out customer calls. So because I've advanced you on credit, it means I need to be chasing you to say, okay, how soon are you going to make payments? How soon are you going to make payments? Okay, okay. I'm just following up. Are you sure everything is going well? You plan and you carry out customer calls. Then there's something we call dunning. Dunning means basically you are issuing letters to the customers. And sometimes dunning, become more effective when your customers have defaulted on their payment terms. Take, for example, I have a business operation, right? And in my credit term, I've told myself, or I've told my business that I want to set a 14-day payment term for my customers. So, number one, before I can even advance credit to you, I've already done some level of check. We'll get to that point. No, but I set a 14-day payment term for my customers, meaning that if I advance credit to you, I will not disturb you for the next 14 days. I expect you that on day 15, you pay me back my money for the credit I've advanced to you. Now, in a situation where day 15, day 16, day 20, day 25, you have still not paid for the credit that was advanced to you, then I now start to do what I call dunning, right? Now, dunning means I start to issue you official letters. I write to you officially, to say, kindly pay up, your overdue obligation, and it is only upon that I can now start following up with orders. Of course, because I've been advancing credit to you, but you've not paid for the ones I've advanced to you, right? So what it now means is that for subsequent sales to you, I put it on hold. I put it on hold until that is done. Alternatively, if you already have a credit limit, because we'll also get to that part, of establishing that sound governance framework. I follow up with you basically. So, and I deal promptly with customer to resolve disputes. Oh, you've not made payment to me. Oh, the customer says, no, I made payment to you yesterday. The customer sends you the payment evidence, right? But you cannot, validate, such transactions. And then you now need to start looking for, how can I check from the bank? You need to follow up with your bank to say, this customer made payment on so day. The customer has sent me this evidence. Can you confirm why I have not received, such payment, in the bank account? So when you deal with disputes like that, because they will arise from time to time, in the course of your business, so you must be able to deal with those issues as quickly as possible. And you must also have a standardized aging debtors report, because you have 10 customers. These 10 customers have different credit terms. You must be able to have standardized aging reports that helps you break this entire flow into different buckets. Oh, these people have been owing me for 1 week. These people have been owing me for 15 days. These people have been owing me for 30 days. These people have been owing me for 90 days. That way, you're also able to create what we call credit checks on those customers. You're able to create a credit report, for this customer. Now, let us talk about developing that credit risk plan. Developing that credit risk plan. And of course, this will summarize, this particular slide, and try to be as brief as possible. The first step, my number one step in developing a credit risk plan is to prepare a very clear credit policy. It cannot be overemphasized. Prepare a very clear credit policy. In developing your credit policy, there are some key things you need to note. How do you categorize your customers? You must be able to classify your customers. Of course, because you already have history trading with your customers, right? You already know, oh, this kind of customers, I want to call them class A. Oh, class A customers are the people who buy large, right? The value of sales they do for me is large, right? Class A customers are people who have bank guarantees. Oh, these people have some bank guarantees such that if there's any default, I can always go back to the bank and activate what I call bank guarantee. Oh, Class A customers are the people who always pay on time. They never default in their credit terms, right? You must be able to create a very clear credit control policy. You categorize your customers, and then you also talk about the different parts of setting your credit limits. You put your donning policy also in your credit policy. At what point must I send my first letter to the customer to remind them of their outstanding balance? At what point must I send the second letter? At what point must I send the third letter? It has to be clearly developed in your credit policy, right? Your credit policy should also have an element of insurance framework in it to say, because I'm selling my product on credit to customers, what is the insurance framework going to look like? Oh, once I sell to this customer, the customers in this class or in class B or in class C, this is the level of insurance that I expect them to have. All of these things need to sit in your credit policy. You must also have a bad debt section in your credit policy. What is my bad debt section in my credit policy? How do I chase bad debts? How do I deal with my bad debts? Oh, at what point do I pass this my bad debt to legal authorities or to debt factoring organizations to collect on my behalf in case that is what I want to do? But it can be a very simple document. These documents it has to be in black and white, 2 pages, 3 pages, 5 pages, but make sure you have a clear control policy. You must also be able to establish a credit limit strategy. Each of your customers, because you've categorized your customers into different classes, you can already tell what is the maximum band of credit I can give to class A, class B, class C, class D customers, right? Have a clear credit limit strategy. And for you to do that, right, it means clearly that you must have done some background checks on these customers. For instance, you must have gotten their bank payment for the last 3 months or for the last 6 months. You want to see before you recruit the customer and advance credit to them, right? You must have established a 6-month trading relationship with the customer. Oh, I've been trading with customer A for the past 6 months, and this has been his pattern and behavior of payments. I've been able to establish, some trading engagement with this customer. Then I now need to look at how much credit do I want to, what is the average payment that this person does, what is the average sales that this person does over a period of 3 months. Oh, this the average sales is, it does an average of 2 million for me, every month. It makes payments on the average of 1.8 million. So meaning that, of course, usually on the average it is always owing you around 200,000 at the end of the period. Then you now begin to ask yourself, okay, if I want to expand my business with this customer, it means I want to advance a credit of, say, 3 million to this customer to expand this portfolio, or 2.5 million to expand this portfolio. These are the kind of things you put in place to establish, credit limits. Then also look at your credit terms. We spoke about DSO in previous slides. Look at your credit terms. What are your payment terms? It means that every time I sell to you, I expect you to pay me back within 7 days. You must establish these structures if you want to go into credit management to grow your business. Except you are very comfortable with what you're doing, you know, I will not advise as a small and medium enterprise to go into credit management. But the moment you are sure that as a business you are ready to go to the next stage of the cycle, then you must put these things structurally in place, for your business. Also consider your credit rejig options for customers. Yeah, it's possible because you may have some customers that used to do well at the beginning of the year, but it is December, and in the past 3 months, these customers have not been doing so well. Perhaps the credit you advanced to them, right? They've sold the product on your behalf, but they didn't remit the cash back to you. What did they do with the money instead? They took the money to do other operations, to carry out other operations. So you need to be able to assess the rejig options. Take away a portion of this credit from this customer and advance it to a different customer that you know is ready to move his or her business forward, or is ready to align with your own business ambition. Circumstances can change, but also ensure that you know the history of your customers, especially your biggest customers. That's the number 5 point. Ensure you know the history of these customers. It's very, very important, and it can never be overemphasized. Carry out regular outstanding, checks. Build frameworks. There are things that I did, in my time, right? I developed frameworks such as the customer credit limit report, right? Is a daily report. So every day I send to all my sales managers to say, you are my sales managers. These are the customers all of you are managing. This is the current outstanding position of your customer every day. And in my credit report, I will already tell you this is how much I've sold to you. This is how much, you know, this is how much you are owing, right? And then I'll tell you this is how much is overdue from what you are owing. So it's always is a robust framework, and I also carry out what we call credit exposure. Credit exposure, I want to look at what is the value of my stock that is sitting with the customer. Number one. Number two, I also want to look at how much is this customer owing me. If the value of stock I've advanced to my customer is 100 naira and the customer is owing me 100 naira, it means I don't have any credit risk as it stands, basically. Now, if what I've advanced to my credit to my customer is 100 naira, but my customer is owing me 200 naira, and the value of stock available with my customer is just 100 naira, it means I'm exposed to the tune of 100 naira. And there has to be an instrument to cover that exposure, either through bank guarantee or either through letters of credit. There has to be maybe even post-dated checks. There has to be something that covers it, because, and that's the way you create credit exposure reports, right? You must also have a credit monitor, create a dashboard that helps you check your credit, your customers. Your dashboard can be faced by classes. Oh, these are class A customers. This is their credit report. Have advanced sales of 100 naira to them. They've made payments of 100 naira. Their credit exposure is zero. These are class B customers. Have advanced 100 naira. They've only paid 20 naira. Their exposure is 80, and so on and so forth. You look at all of these things, but then you must also be bold. If a customer is always defaulting on payment terms regularly, then the question is it really worth your time and resources to service those customers? Because every time you service them, they come back, they are always begging, please give me product, I will attend to you. And we usually will see these things, especially with our relatives, with our loved ones, right? And because of that, we try to manage situations, but we need to always be firm, polite, and diplomatic in our conversations with these customers. Monitor your cash flow. closely and monitor it real time. Look at what is happening in your business. Look at how much have I spent today, how much has come in today. Monitor your cash flow, monitor your cash position, and review the process as often as possible. Set realistic targets. Oh, tell yourself, oh, I want to have at the end of the day a cash flow of this much. Of course, you need to also understand the structural, framework for cash flow, right? What is my profit? Oh, what are the expenses that are not money related? Depending on if you have an accounting system in place, and for our businesses, we need to also put these accounting systems in place for us to be able to track and monitor the changes in our inventory, the changes in those we are owing, and the changes in those that are owing us, our customers. We need to look at the flow and then on a regular basis set realistic targets. And of course, finally, we can also capitalize on financing options, to help mitigate the impact of the volatility of our cash flow. So where you have opportunities where a venture capitalist is willing to, infuse or inject funds into your business, or where a financing house is willing to inject, but you must also already consider the interest and penalty impacts that it also comes with. So the long and short of this entire engagement is prevention is better than cure. And prevention is the best insurance against credit risk. How do I achieve this prevention? I need to carry out regular training for my own staff. I need to do regular background checks on my customers. I need to look at the entire business model, for customer, and then look at how I can execute my business strategy. So, for key highlights, as business disruptions continue, of course, the value of implementing a sound framework, to grow our business, in terms of credit risk management, will become more and more obvious. Of course, this is coupled with the fact that a robust and perhaps a conservative financial management will see a lot of our businesses overcome crisis, you know, because of better financial health than our competitors. So, in a nutshell, credit risk have the potential to destroy a business or cause serious damage to a business. And businesses should identify which credit risk pose a threat to their operations. And of course, establish a sound governance framework. So this is the summation of my entire submission today. And of course, at the end of this session, of course, we are free to ask questions, as we like. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. It's been an insightful session. A lot of things has been said about having a business plan, creating a governance framework for your credit management, and then understanding the entire structures and everything that you need to do. Having a proper accounting system in place to manage your inventory and also paying attention to your cash flow. All of these things are very, very important stuff. And those are some of the things that we offer you as service at Pest Consulting. In case you are yet to start your journey in this particular area, so that you can better get the value for what you have learned today, reach out to us. You can send email to info@Pest Consulting. Somebody will get in touch with you. Just send email to info@pestconsulting.com about your request. We are somebody will schedule a meeting with you to ask about your business and how we can be of help. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Simon Mokbe. It has been a
Thank you very
wonderful
much.
session. I am so sure that our listeners have gained a lot from us today, and it is really, really. How will I say it now? It's been an honor having you on this session. I know you could go on and on. We are going to plead on behalf of our listeners that we need to bring you back again to explore this further, because there are a lot of nuances or other areas that there might be need for us also shed light on, for people to have a proper understanding of how to effectively utilize or maximize their credit management system. Thank you so much once again, our viewers, for joining us for this week's edition of SME Roundtable. We'll be stopping today, right now, but next week, be so sure that same station, same time, we'll be having another edition with another guest. And hopefully, we also, like I said, we are going to plan another edition for Mr. Simon to come and help us take this particular learning forward. Until that time, keep safe, keep doing it, and never give up, because that is the secret to the top. All right. Thank you so much, and bye bye.
Thank you.